let's be honest with each other. Do you lie tossing and turning every night, counting over and over the meager number of vocabulary words your child said during the day? You are gambling with every parent's biggest fear. Is my child just speech delayed, or is my child autistic? You crave an answer, but you are making a fatal mistake. You keep staring intently at your child's while the real answer lies in their hands. Listen, before a child knows how to open their mouth to call mom, they already know how to speak with their whole body. 9 months knowing how to point, 18 months with hands and feet waving continuously. Here is the naked truth to help you distinguish immediately a speech delayed child will find every way to make you understand them. They don't have words yet. They will use their hands. They point at the milk bottle, wave to grandma, shake their head vigorously when they don't like porridge. They scream their needs through body language. But with autism, the story is completely different. That is the silence of both speech and gestures. You will not see tiny fingers pointing up at the airplane, nor see a wave goodbye unless you force the child to follow along like a machine. The difference lies there. One side is a frantic effort to connect, one side is alarming indifference. This video is not for those who like to hear empty, comforting words. I will expose every smallest sign so you know exactly where your child stands. Stop guessing blindly. Click subscribe to the channel right now because we will dive deep into the secrets that doctors might not have had time to tell you.
Let's get started.
We will start this journey with a naked truth that perhaps no one has told you in this way. Are you worried because your child hasn't spoken yet? Are you waiting for sound? Forget the mouth. Look down at your child's hands. Why do I tell you to look at the hands? Because before humans knew how to use words to conquer the world, we used our hands to connect with our own kind. Imagine this scene. Your child is hungry, or your child wants the red car sitting way up on a high shelf. What will a child who doesn't know how to speak do? If your child is just simply speech delayed, you will see a scene that is very physically noisy. The child will run over, pull your shirt, point at the shelf, then look at you, then point at the shelf again. The child might stomp their feet, shake their head, nod, wave their hands. What is the child doing? The child is speaking with everything they have. The child is making a desperate effort for you to understand their intent. Your child's hand at this moment is a bridge. The child builds that bridge to connect their intent with your understanding. But take a deep breath and look over to another picture. The picture of a child with signs of autism. Still that shelf, still that car. The child also wants it. The desire is the same, but the action is completely different. You will not see any tiny index finger pointing up high. You will not see a head shake or a nod. Instead, the child walks to your side, grabs your wrist. The child holds your hand just like the way they hold a pair of pliers or a stick. The child drags you along to the shelf and places your hand on it. During that whole process, the child does not look at your face. The child does not care about your attitude. Why? Because to the child, your hand is a tool. Listen closely to this. Speech delayed children consider parents as communication partners. Autistic children consider parents as in that moment as problem-solving tools. This difference is subtle to the point of being heartbreaking. When the child waves to grandma, to dad, that is not just an act of imitation. That is a social connection need. Speech-delayed children wave very enthusiastically, sometimes accompanied by a big grin. As for autistic children, their hands hang down. Or if you say hi to grandma, child. The child might raise their hand in a forced way, eyes still looking elsewhere. Spontaneity disappears. Connection is broken. In the world of childhood, there are two main reasons for them to communicate with adults. Reason 1, survival needs. I'm hungry, I'm thirsty, I want a toy. Reason 2, sharing needs. I see this is so cool, I want mom to see it too. A normally developing child, or simply speech delayed, will do both of these things in a balanced way. Let's take the example of the airplane. This is a classic example that I want you to etch into your mind. When hearing the sound of a plane roaring in the sky, what is the reflex of a speech-delayed child? The child will look up, eyes wide with amazement. And immediately, the child will turn sharply back to find you. The child points to the sky, then looks at you, then looks at the plane again. That look means, Mom, look, isn't it cool? Do you see what I am seeing? The child is not demanding you buy the plane. The child does not need you to do anything. The child only needs you to be present in that moment with them. That is called joint attention. That is the pinnacle of human-to-human communication. But in autistic children, this balance is tilted completely to one side. They usually only communicate when there is a survival need, meaning when they need cake, need water, need to turn on the TV. Only then do they come to you. As for sharing needs, it is almost a perfect zero. The child might also like the airplane. The child might stand gazing blankly at it until it disappears from sight. But the child stands there alone. The child has no need to turn back to see if mom is looking. The child enjoys that joy in an invisible bubble where you are not allowed to enter. This explains why many parents tell me, my child is very good, plays alone all day without bothering parents. My friend, at the age of 1 too, playing alone all day without needing anyone is not good. That is a red alert sign. That is indifference to social connection. A normal child will constantly bother you, constantly show you inanimate things they picked up because they need your confirmation to feel complete joy. Remember the time you tried to show your child a dog running on the street. You pointed and excitedly shouted, "Oh, look at the dog." What is the reaction of a speech-delayed child? Even though the child cannot say, "dog," the child's brain understands that social command. The child will look in the direction your hand points. The child sees the dog, and then the child turns back to look at you, smiling or nodding. The child understands that mom points, meaning there is something interesting over there. I must look following that. But with autistic children, this is when you feel helplessness rising. You point. The child does not look at the dog. The child stares at your finger, or the child looks at your button, or the child ignores it as if you don't exist. The child does not understand the meaning of that gesture. The child does not understand that the finger is just a guide, the destination is the dog. This disconnection is extremely dangerous because children learn about the world through looking following adults. If the child does not look following you, the child will lose thousands of learning opportunities every day. And more heartbreaking is the story about eye contact. I know many people say, "My child still looks at me, surely it is not autism." Don't be mistaken. Autistic children do look, but that look is different. Think about when you breast your child when they were still an infant. That is the most sacred moment of connection. A normal child will look deep into mom's eyes, hand fiddling with mom's shirt. But autistic children often avoid that look. Or if the child looks at you like looking at an object. The child's gaze goes through you, soulless, carrying no emotional message. The child does not use eyes to say, "Mom, help me." "Mom, I'm scared." When the child has difficulty, for example, not being able to open a candy box, the child does not look up at you for help. The child just shoves the box into your hand, face still looking down at the box. You feel like a box opening machine rather than a mother. That feeling, I know, it is extremely painful. If you are still wondering, step into your child's playroom. This is where the truth is exposed most clearly without a single word. From 18 months to 2 years old, the child's brain undergoes a leap symbolic thinking, meaning the ability to play pretend. Observe a speech-delayed child. Even though the mouth hasn't spoken a sentence, the head is a talented director. It picks up an empty bowl, puts it to the mouth, slurping, slurp, slurp, deliciously. It picks up a doll, pats it, takes a towel to cover the doll to sleep. It picks up a rectangular wooden block to the ear. Hello, hello. It turns a plastic car into a race car, mouth making vroom vroom sounds, steering skillfully around the room. It is blowing soul into objects. It understands that the empty bowl represents a bowl with porridge. That is normal intelligence. Now, look over to the corner of a child with signs of autism. The child plays very intently, can even sit for hours. But the child does not play with toys. The child plays on toys. The child does not care if the car is used to carry people or run on the road. The child flips the car over and engrossedly spins the wheel. The child spins forever. The child's eyes are glued to that steady rotation. Or the child lines up those cars into a long straight line. Strangely neat. Red with red, blue with blue. The child is not the director of a story. The child is like a lonely engineer testing physical laws. And the challenge lies here. You try getting close, pretend to accidentally misalign that straight line, or block the spinning wheel. A normal child might be slightly annoyed, then let it go. But an autistic child might explode into a terrifying tantrum. The child screams, bangs head, scratches. Why? Because you just broke the child's safe order. The child's world needs repetition, needs precision, does not need imagination or transformation. Take these observations out to the playground where there are other children. Children under 3 years old usually play in parallel style, meaning everyone plays their own thing but sitting next to each other. Speech-delayed children, even though unable to communicate verbally, their social instincts are very strong. Seeing friends run, it also runs after laughing loudly. Seeing a friend building a sandcastle, it also curiously comes close, picks up a shovel and does the same. It is a little shadow. It wants to belong to the herd. It observes and imitates the behavior of others. But autistic children are like living on a deserted island right in the middle of a crowded park. While the kids are gathering to watch an ant, your child might silently separate, walk towards the slide alone. The child does not look at other children. The child is not curious about what they are doing. Even when another child comes close and hands a toy to the child might ignore it, or push the friend away, or turn back and walk away. It is not that the child is stuck up. It is not that the child is bad. Simply the child's brain does not find joy dopamine from interacting with humans. The child finds joy from silence or from repetitive movements of objects. And imitation, the most important learning mechanism of humans, also malfunctions. When you clap hands to music, speech-delayed children will clap along, though clumsily. Autistic children sit still or sway to their own rhythm. When you smile, speech-delayed children smile back. Autistic children have a cold face. This lack of imitation ability is the very reason causing the child to be speech-delayed, skill-delayed, and hard to integrate. Because unable to imitate, the child does not learn. Finally, I want to talk about things that perhaps you have seen, have wondered about, but dared not ask anyone because of fear people would say your child is not normal. Those are repetitive behaviors and strange reactions to the surrounding world. Children with simple speech delay rarely have these manifestations, but with autism they appear very frequently. Do you see your child often walking on tiptoes? Walking like a ballet dancer, heels not touching the ground? Do you see your child often flapping their hands like a bird flapping wings whenever they are too happy or too scared? Do you see your child often running in circles around the table or spinning themselves around until dizzy? Or does the child make meaningless, repetitive sounds, you, all day long? People call that self-stimulating behavior, but I want you to understand its nature. It is a defense mechanism. Why must the child defend? Because for many autistic children, this world is a place of sensory overload. Imagine you are locked in a disco with loud music, laser lights shining straight into your eyes, and someone is rubbing sandpaper on your skin. How would you feel? Want to go crazy, right? That could be your child's feeling when hearing the sound of a blender, a vacuum cleaner, or simply the noise in a supermarket. The child covers their ears, screams, rolls on the floor, throwing a tantrum. Or conversely, a clothing tag rubbing on the back also makes the child feel like being pricked by needles. The child refuses to wear new clothes, only likes wearing soft old clothes. The child is terribly picky eater, only eating crunchy things or only soft things, because the child fears the feeling of food in the mouth. Those spinning, hand flapping behaviors are exactly the way the child releases the valve of pressure. The child does that to regain balance for their nervous system, which is shaking violently. As for speech-delayed children, they might be uncomfortable, might cry, but they rarely have such extreme and obsessive reactions like that. They are more flexible, easier to adapt. And one more thing, rigidity. Autistic children love immutability. The way to school must be exactly that road. The rice bowl must be exactly that color. The bathing sequence must be exactly taking off the shirt first, then the pants later. If you change a small detail, disaster happens. A tantrum of an autistic child is not like a tantrum of a normal child. It is a crisis meltdown. It lasts long, is intense and the child almost loses control completely cannot be soothed by normal ways. Meanwhile, speech-delayed children might whine, but you can still negotiate or distract them with another toy. With autistic children, distraction is an impossible mission when the child is in a crisis of order. You see, the picture has gradually appeared clearly. We are not talking about how many words the child can say. We are talking about how the child connects, how the child plays, how the child looks, and how the child feels this world. All the signs above, from the hands, the eyes, the smile to the tiptoe steps, all are puzzle pieces 1,000 times more important than the sound, grandma, the sound, mom. Don't just listen to the comforting words. Probably he's just slow. Believe in the intuition of a parent. You are the one who understands the child best, observes the child most. If you see the shadow of your child in the descriptions of disconnection, loneliness, and repetitive behaviors that I just told, then that is the time you need to act. Not tomorrow, but right now. At this moment, I want you to take a deep breath and look straight at me. I need to clarify with you one important thing. This video, no matter how detailed, is not a diagnosis paper. I am not your child's doctor, and YouTube is not a hospital. Only experts with full expertise have the right to label or conclude about your child. But this video has another mission. It is here to awaken your parenting intuition. You know, the intuition of a mother. A father is rarely wrong. If in your belly you have a gnawing feeling, a hunch telling that something is wrong, my child is having difficulty, then please believe in that feeling. Don't let the hollow, comforting words of neighbors or the hesitation of yourself lull you to sleep. Why am I so harsh? Because in the battle to reclaim language for the child, time is gold, is diamond. Whether your child is just simply speech delayed, or the child is truly within the autism spectrum, or any other problem, then the immutable rule is still the earlier the intervention, the wider the bright door. A child supported at 2 years old will have a completely different future from a child who has to wait until 4 or 5 years old to get intervention. Therefore, if you are worrying, don't just sit there and hug the fear. Fear does not help your child speak. Action is what does that.